Dr. Alexander Rusero, international relations analyst, joins us now live from Mutare in Zimbabwe to unpack this further. Very good afternoon to you, Dr. Alexander, and thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Sure. Good afternoon, and how are you?
Good, thank you for asking. In fact, let's get straight into what transpired today. We heard some of the sentiments from both sides, and perhaps you could speak to the bilateral visit, the outcomes regarding the agenda, given the economic and cultural exchanges, but also the concerns about the legal movement of persons, as well as illicit activity flows.
Thank you. I think this is a big day and an important gesture, not only for the people of the Republic of South Africa and for the Republic of Zimbabwe, but more importantly for SADC and broadly for the African Union, because this gesture stands for what the continental vision is trying to drive, in as much as the Vision 2063 is concerned, and more importantly, the African Free Trade Continental Agreement, AfCFTA. So if you look at the issue of harnessing points of entry, I think that's the best two countries should have, because remember, Bridge is actually the busiest land border post in Africa. So it speaks volume to the regional industrial strategic plan that was put in place by SADC. It also speaks volumes to the much needed harmonization, as you alluded to, of border entries between Zimbabwe and South Africa, which may curb illicit migration. I wouldn't want to call migrants moving from one state to another as illegal, because originally we are one as a region and as a people.
All right, Prof. Dr. Alex, rather, thank you for weighing in on that. I wonder then, as we look at the model, South Africa's model of administration of the border management control, what's coming to the fore on that front? Looking at Zimbabwe and how they're faring on that front too, what are you observing?
Yeah, I'm observing Zimbabwe that is trying to catch up fast, because remember, Zimbabwe has also promulgated a whole national ports of entry bill. There is a bill that speaks to what is actually currently taking place, which is going to be sort of fast-tracked to become law, because 2 or 3 months earlier, if you still remember very well, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa, also visited the Bridge, the Zimbabwean side of the border, to see how far Zimbabwe had gone in as much as modernizing that border is concerned. Now, in terms of border management, we do acknowledge that South Africa is far ahead, and there is then a need to harmonize the two systems in as much as the seamless movement of transport, goods, as well as human beings are concerned. This will achieve the much needed one border post vision or goal, where you do not have to be grapple with the issues of duplication of roles, duplication of forms to fill in, etc. So I see a lot in as much as convergence, in as much as multilateral and bilateral cooperations are concerned, but more importantly, the cross-pollination of ideas at states level, which will then be complemented by citizens, because remember, SADC's aspiration also is the SADCnization of the whole region, where we even forgo issues of passports, etc. in terms of our border entries, because the free movement of people is a catalyst to regional and continental trade, which will then trigger and gear the much needed developmental trajectory of the African continent.
Dr. Alex, what about looking at some of the systemic root causes of what's transpiring in both countries, addressing the socio-political, economic conditions as a means of addressing, the symptoms that we obviously see, or the manifestations of what's transpiring on both the positive and negative front?
Yeah, I think the lowest hanging fruit here is that the positive effects, they tend to also address the negative effects. Because the moment we have a seamless and harmonized system at our points of entry, precisely the border posts, it demystifies certain sentiments that have been at play for far too long, in as much as the issues of Afrophobia, issues of xenophobia, but more importantly, there are also issues of crime. Because remember, you commit a crime in Zimbabwe, you can easily flee to South Africa or vice versa. So this whole harmonization, it's actually a pedestal for more cooperation at this time, not only of states, but of citizens themselves. So I do not see much of the negative effects of this, but what I see is that we are now at a position where the long-held divide that was there, in as much as issues of border management, controls, and authority were concerned, are on the verge of being converted into dividends. They will be dividends because of the barriers that are now being removed. Because when two states commit to harmonize, commit to exchange notes, because of the reality that they know they are two sides of the same coin. For me, and from an international relations and regional integration point of view, that's a positive step, actually in the right direction.